A sadhana path. Devotees of Tumkur Chinmaya mission had come to Dodderi. They had a discussion with Appa regarding sadhana and spiritual disciplines necessary for spiritual aspirants, etc. Appa, amidst other things, said the following on that occasion. People who are totally immersed in worldliness find it quite all right. They also find happiness in it. But you people have come to realize that it is not all, that it is not that important. You have recognized that there is something noble called the spirit besides matter, and are trying to walk on the spiritual path to some extent. Is this not really commendable? All people who come to this ashrama, it is really God who sends them. It is He who gets them here, and it is He who sends them also. So one should not entertain the feeling that I have come and I am going, etc. You people said, Appa, when we sit for bhajan or dhyana, the mind does not remain steady, it keeps wandering. So you agree that you are different from the mind. Mind always creates impediments for all spiritual practices. This is because if you progress on the path, it cannot have its own way, as you prevent it from doing whatever it wants. Therefore, if you go on watching it, it gradually becomes quiet. It realizes that you are seeing through all its tricks, all its ruses, and so becomes quiet. The annihilator of the six enemies is God Himself. He is the saint. He is the ascetic. Let a person be anywhere. Tension and turmoil, fear and anxiety, sorrow and misery, wretchedness and heartache. Things such as these keep the fire blazing inside him, giving him no respite at all. One should therefore obtain peace and calmness of the mind himself. This cannot be imposed by someone else from outside. Take such people anywhere, to an ashrama where sacred and holy atmosphere reigns, to a lovely beach on a seashore, or any other such calm, cool, and beautiful place. Several things go on boiling in the cauldron within them. Therefore, first of all, one should reduce his worldly activities, business and family transactions, contacts, relationships, etc. to the barest minimum possible. Because it is these that go on violently pulling him in all directions, all at the same time, tire him and exhaust him tremendously, and in no time make him thoroughly unfit and incapable of doing anything worthwhile. Even if you crown such a man as the king of all celestial and divine beings, and seat him on the throne, his mind will be in turmoil and full of his worldly and family problems. Therefore, man should go on drastically reducing his desires and cravings. If one annihilates the six valiant and enormously powerful enemies inside him, namely desire, anger, greed, delusion, pride, and envy, and frees his mind of their eternal tormentation and harassment, he will become none other than God Himself. With these enemies inside him, if one says he will do dhyana and attain samadhi, meaning state of God realization, he can achieve absolutely nothing. When one gets rid of these abominable adversaries, what remains is only sacredness, holiness, and absolute purity. There is nothing but dhyana state, deep absorption state, samadhi state. If one is able to free himself from desires and cravings, fears and anxieties, anger and envy, and such other undesirable disturbances in his mind, where is the need for him to engage himself in any kind of sadhana? He need not do anything. We keep these abominable pests inside us and suffer unnecessarily. That's all. Why do we take to different spiritual paths and do all kinds of sadhanas? It is only to free ourselves from these pests, from these enemies. If we take to spiritual disciplines, it becomes easier for us to get rid of these detestable enemies. When all devotees get together at a place like an ashrama, they get peace of mind easily and develop renunciation and dispassion in them. Faith and devotion grow in them, and their minds go towards dhyana and God contemplation. When these things grow in them, and they are able to give up or renounce everything, then what remains is only he or that. There will be nothing else there. This is real dhyana. They need not do anything else. By going to ashramas, visiting saints and holy men, meeting other devotees, associating with saints and other devotees, devotees should inculcate faith, devotion, renunciation, desirelessness, and other such qualities in them. Saints and Mahatmas will have renounced everything. By associating with them and listening to what they say, we will come to know that what comes out of their mouths is pure truth. If a man gets rid of all undesirable and bad qualities, he becomes good, holy, pious, and virtuous. In fact, he is the real sannyasi, an ascetic. A sannyasi, a renunciate, means one who has given up everything. It is not that the one who merely puts on the ochre robes is a sannyasi. Originally, putting on ochre robes had an altogether different meaning. Ochre robe was meant to be worn by those who have become paripurna, full, who have fulfilled the purpose of human birth by realizing God. Only God-realized souls, only illumined men, only saints and Mahatmas were wearing ochre robes, so that people could recognize them, honor and revere them, and give them special treatment. Now, all and sundry wear clothes and parade before us. There are some genuine ascetics, saints and Mahatmas also amongst them, but of course their case is different, and the case of these pseudo-ascetics is different. Real sadhus and saints will definitely receive honor and reverence everywhere. It is enough if they are known and revered only by these evolved souls who have the ability to recognize their worth. Such people will definitely come to them. The saints and Mahatmas will also see that such deserving souls alone will recognize them. Others will not even recognize them as saints. Saints do not want either such people's honor and worship, or their scorn and insult. They remain supremely indifferent to their honor or scorn. They will be in such an exalted state. It is enough if people who should know come to know them. Whomsoever they have to guide, teach, and uplift, it is enough if they guide and teach such devotees only. This is how God wants saints to be, and since they are actually one with Him, their manner and behavior and their teachings and doings will all be exactly as He wants them to be. The significance of Paada Puja, meaning worship of feet. Earlier, whomsoever I felt that they are good, pious, and virtuous devotees, the moment I saw any of them, I would bring him home, wash and worship his feet, and then feed him. I had great interest and enthusiasm in doing this. This had gone to such extremes that even if I found such a one lying down on the roadside, I would bring him and wash and worship his feet. I did not want anything at all from him in return. If I worship him and show my love and respect to him, that would give me great joy and satisfaction. I just wanted this much only and nothing else. Why I was doing this was so many devotees used to come here, and I wanted these devotees to learn worshipping the feet of Mahatmas and saints. By this, their sense and feelings of differentiation between people, their arrogance, egoism, self-esteem, pride, vanity, conceit, etc., all begin to dwindle. Me and mine, ill will and malevolence of sense organs, arrogance and conceit, etc., all go on diminishing rapidly. It is these that we should get rid of. When this happens, ultimately only pure I remains. Why one should engage oneself in japa, dhyana, puja, etc. is only because if he does this, he will begin telling himself that henceforth he should not commit mistakes, faults and sins, should not become angry, should not be greedy and covetous, and as a consequence will soon begin getting rid of such bad, harmful and undesirable qualities. Similarly, when he cultivates the company of saints, mahatmas, devotees, and pious and virtuous people, he will develop fear within himself of committing mistakes. As he gets rid of his bad qualities, his desires and cravings go on reducing. With all these bad traits in his character gone, his mind becomes perfectly peaceful. Man's thoughts will always be full of people he dislikes, hates, envies, etc. His mind, intellect, heart, ego, all will be full of the host of negative feelings produced in him by all these people. All these can go only if he turns his mind Godward and begins doing his puja and bhajan and courting the company of sadhus and saints. Then, as he progresses in his japa and dhyana, the divine power in him grows in strength, and the mind, intellect and organs lose their demonical strength. As the divine force goes on growing, harmful and undesirable forces begin dying out. Then he obtains Guru Kripa, Guru's grace. Residing in the heart of the disciple, the Guru annihilates all evil and harmful forces hiding inside the devotee. This is spirituality. Nothing more is required to be done. If one has real faith and devotion, he can easily proceed towards God. One should intensely yearn to rid himself of all undesirable traits in him and become absolutely pure. When he really becomes pure and holy, he begins to revere and bow down to everything he comes across, all animate and inanimate things, all living creatures, plants and trees, men and animals, everything. Not that he walks around with his hands always folded in salutation. He lives and moves about with the firm conviction that the whole of creation is full of him, that he has become everything. Then he is a gnani, self-realized and enlightened. Whole of his personality is flooded with the effulgence of this enlightenment. When one sees God in everyone, how can he differentiate one from the other? We should come to this state if we want liberation. We should learn to totally surrender ourselves at least to our Guru. If we do this, in fact, we would have offered our obeisance to the whole of creation. By our total surrender to our Guru, we would automatically get the feeling that he is there everywhere and in everything, and that nothing moves without his will. This will happen all by itself, all too easily and all too quickly, whereas in the method enunciated in the previous paragraph, it will be a gradual process. God is subtler than the subtlest. The subtleness of God is the subtlest. That is why God is described as subtler than the subtlest. We can see, touch, and feel the objects around us in the world, but this subtleness can neither be touched nor seen. Subtlest means that it includes everything else. There are no breaks or parts in the subtleness. It is whole and continuous, and is boundless and infinite. It is everywhere and pervades everything. To that subtleness, which is God itself, if we want to talk or tell anything, where is the need either to shout or whisper? When it is itself everything, it does everything by itself. It is true, and because of only that, man has invented all the modern gadgets and has propounded all the theories. It is only through these instruments and theories that man is finding out and making new arrangements of things, finding out new objects and creating new inventions, etc. As you go on becoming subtler and subtler, that, the source of everything, keeps pace with you and will always be ahead of you. Sadhaka, Bhadaka, Bhagavad, and super devotees. Majority of people who are on the spiritual path have come to it either because of some unbearable stress and strain or because of some inextricable problem or incident in their lives. They run to whatsoever ashrama and whomsoever guru they come across. They go on mechanically doing whatever their guru tells them to do. They say they have surrendered to their guru, but their minds are full of past deeds and incidents. They are being tormented by them. They remain immersed in them. They are constantly worrying and thinking of them only. By themselves, they have not come to the guru with the sole intention of realizing God. Either the wife has died, or there is some unsolvable problem with the son, or there is a lack of love either from the wife or from the husband, or there is never-ending conflict and fight in the family, and the person has either been driven out by others or come out himself, unable to bear it. Only due to such reasons, people run to gurus, temples, and ashramas. It is extremely rare that any of them has any desire to realize God. Their minds are already jam-packed with their problems. Because they have come to a new place, are in a new atmosphere, and are with new people, temporarily they may get a little peace of mind. They would not have surrendered to God really. Even if they stand before God and pray, their prayers will only be about things and persons they loved previously, or about their enemies. If by chance they get some favorable response to any of their prayers, which only means that some things they were hoping and praying for has happened, immediately they run away. Such type of devotees are called Bhadaka devotees or distressed devotees, or people who have become devotees because of some distress or mishap or untoward happening. These are people who have come only because things became unbearable. They are a sort of pseudo-devotees, ill or wrongly baked devotees. Wherever they feel all right, they will stay there for a while. They have no patience. For some months, they are in some ashrama. Then, they go to some other ashrama. They will not have peace of mind anywhere. It is not the place that is disturbing their peace of mind. It is their own feelings inside. Suppose a pan has become very hot. To cool it, if you put some water over it, it becomes hot again. You should pour water over the fire underneath the pan, not over the pan. Like this, keeping one's mind full of intractable problems, hatreds, and miseries, what is the use of running here and there? What can the poor places do? We must first get rid of our problems within us and get peace of mind. Then there will be no need to run from place to place. We will find all places quite congenial and all persons lovable too. Then there are Sadhaka Bhaktas, or devotees for a purpose. They remain as devotees till their purpose is served. Once their desires are fulfilled, they will leave the place. Devotees who take to spirituality for the sake of God realization are indeed very rare. They are called Bhagavad Bhaktas, or true devotees of God. In their case, there are no complications. Theirs is a simple, straightforward, and honest affair. People who want to realize God, and who for that reason take to the spiritual path, will not have come to this line under any sort of duress or stress. They know the value and purpose of human birth. They know that only God realization will assure them eternal joy, freedom, bliss, and peace. They will voluntarily and willingly betake themselves to spiritual disciplines like japa, dhyana, bhajan, puja, etc. whenever and wherever they find it convenient and possible. They steadily progress in their sadhana. The very birth of such persons is a rare and special event and is of great significance to everyone. They lead exemplary lives. They will not divert their attention to any other thing except their chosen goal. Then there is the highest category of devotees. They are superior to Bhagavad Bhaktas and are called Para or super devotees. Their attention is always towards that unseen, absolute and infinite truth and reality. They remain totally indifferent to the infinite and never-ending variety and differences they see before their very eyes. Let anything be happening all around them, their inward attention remains steady and fixed. They see only that eternal truth and reality always before their eyes and keep on going towards that only. What should be done when the mind gets upset? The moment sun's heat becomes unbearable, buffaloes run to the water spot and quietly lie themselves down there for a while, and then come out and begin grazing. Like this, when the mind gets heated up due to some upset, dissatisfaction or sorrow, people should immediately do some japa or service to the Guru or elders or dhyana or God contemplation. They should go to some temple or ashrama or some such place. They should have some such place, some such refuge, some such support or succor by which they can regain their balance. Say some guru, some favorite god, some nama japa, some ashrama, something like that. Let the reason be anything. If the mind gets upset and badly loses its composure and balance, one should immediately leave that place and go somewhere and get it pacified. One should have some such support, help, or refuge ready. Whenever worldliness disturbs the mind badly, we should have some suitable remedy ready at hand. We should know some such place. We normally make emergency or alternate arrangements ready for all eventualities in life. We keep things ready to eat when we feel hungry, or to drink water when we become thirsty, to change our dress when our clothes get soiled, to keep things going when it rains, etc. We take proper care and make sure that all alternate arrangements we have made are perfect. And if anything goes wrong in these arrangements, we feel very bad and get upset. But when it comes to the mind, let anything happen to it, let any havoc strike it and shake the poor thing violently to its very foundations, we do not have any emergency and alternate arrangements ready to tackle the catastrophe. Why do we do this? Why don't we think and keep some alternative ready to take care of the mind's calamities? Should we not? Inherited tendencies from past lives. When man takes a new birth, in the new surroundings and circumstances, in the all-enveloping love and affection of the parents, the man forgets everything about his previous life. If, right from the childhood, his parents make him lead a pious and religious life, associates him with the Guru, God and spiritual practices, etc., and if he has inherited spiritual culture and refinement from his previous births, it manifests and comes to light quite early. Whatever spiritual sadhana he had done in his previous lives would have not gone to waste. It would be lying dormant within him. At some age, due to some incident or happening, it awakens and begins manifesting openly. From then on, all of a sudden, he begins showing great faith and devotion to the Guru, God, etc. The wisdom and enlightenment he had gained in his previous life will begin guiding him in this life all of a sudden, and he loses all interest in all other things except spirituality. If till then he was not doing any spiritual sadhana, he will now get great interest in it and engages himself in sadhana in all earnestness and sincerity. All this happens only due to his inherited spiritual tendencies from his past lives. Like this, all of us, I and you all, were previously living as ashramites in an ashrama. The devotees, after leaving their bodies, enter different bodies at different times and at different places. Then, after being reborn, in order to free themselves of the bondage of this ocean of worldliness and to come to the Guru again, for the inherited spiritual wisdom dormant in a very subtle form to sprout, grow, gather strength and draw them again here, it has taken this much of time. Some came early and some later. After leaving the body, ordinary souls will have the remembrance only of that life. But a self-realized gnani who has become full, meaning paripurna, has merged in that eternal reality and has become that itself, and yet has taken a human birth for the sake of his devotees and also humanity in general, has a remembrance of all his previous lives, not only his. If he desires, he can know the previous lives of others too. The relationship between devotees extends through many births. That is why an unbreakable bond of pure love and affection exists between them. Otherwise, how is this inexplicable love between them possible? They are not blood relatives, friends, or even well-wishers before. There was no business or any kind of give-and-take transactions also. They had no other type of contact before. Still, what extraordinary love exists between them? It doesn't come all of a sudden. Like this, even in the worldly relationships also, it extends through several lives. In some life, due to some reason or the other, love and affection develops between them. In the past life, one would have helped the other due to several reasons and on several occasions. The latter would have been indebted to the former to a great extent. In this life, the latter would be helping the former. In fact, the latter would have taken birth only for this purpose. In this life, there would be no give or take between them. But still, the latter will be helping the former whenever the former is in difficulty. Such things happen only because of unfinished transactions in previous lives. This is especially so if anyone dies feeling great remorse that he was not able to clear his debts. If, in a previous life, one happened to be an ashramite, had led a pious and spiritual life, had engaged himself in doing japa, dhyana, and divine contemplation, and has done only good and virtuous deeds, he will reap the benefit of all of that in this life. Such persons will continue to tread the same path in this life. They will find this path alone suitable to them. They will feel that this is the path that is the best and most sacred and should be pursued at any cost. They will feel every other thing highly distasteful, disgusting, and detestable. Because they had already walked on this path, they will stick to it in this life also at any cost. One should realize that we have been coming and going as fathers, mothers, husbands, wives, children, etc., birth after birth, and any number of times. We should decide that we do not want any more births. With this determination, we should approach a Sadguru and pray before him in all earnestness and sincerity. O Lord, I do not want to be born again, even if that life happens to be more wonderful, luxurious, full of love and affection, full of all kinds of joys, pleasures, and enjoyments. I am really fed up of these worldly entanglements. I do not want this thraldom any more. Please have mercy upon me and grant me deliverance. I don't want anything else. Anyway, we have to leave this body and go one day or the other. That is definite. Therefore, now itself, we should totally, earnestly, sincerely, and intensely crave for him and him alone. It is only then that he grants realization and fullness. If one desires to develop such intense craving, he should first of all become totally desireless. Even if he has everything in plenty, he should feel, let it be there. It is not mine. It all belongs to him. I am only a trustee. I will give it to those to whom it belongs. Even if one has labored very hard and earned all the things with great difficulty, he should sincerely feel that all are his blessings only. If one feels that he has earned and acquired everything by his hard work, and so everything belongs to him, and lead a life of pleasure forgetting God, he will ever remain very, very far from God. But whosoever feels that everything is his, and whatever he utilizes for himself, and whatever he gives to others, everything belongs to him, God alone, he very easily and very soon becomes very near and dear to him, God. Merely because one feels and tells God that everything belongs to him, will people come and snatch things away from him? One should live with this feeling inside him, that's all. If one always has the real feeling that everything belongs to him, and that he is giving to him what is his, whenever he gives anything for any good and noble purpose, God will be pleased beyond all measure. Then he fulfills the devotee's life with self-realization and everlasting bliss.